Today, we're going to completely change the way you look at a food that you probably eat, well, almost every single week. We are diving into this explainer on the avocado tree. And we're not just looking at it as an agricultural product, but as an absolutely massive, fascinating ecological marvel. Most of us really only ever see the finished product sitting there at the grocery store, right? But the biological journey of this incredible plant, it's literally a masterclass in survival, adaptation, and immense environmental value. Let's get into it.
So, picture that small, familiar green fruit sitting on your kitchen counter, or, mashed up on your breakfast toast. Let me ask you, do you think you know the true scale of the plant that actually produces your favorite healthy fat? It's really easy to just kind of assume avocados grow on small bushes or standard orchard vines. But the reality? The organism responsible for this superfood is an absolute giant. No joke.
Okay, let's look at the agenda for today. We've got 6 parts. First, the nutritious green giant. 2, anatomy of a giant. 3, master of survival. Number 4, an entire ecosystem. 5, beyond the plate. And finally, number 6, the sustainable future.
All right, starting off with Section 1, the nutritious green giant, and exactly where it thrives.
To really get a handle on this organism, we have to look at the very specific slice of the globe it calls home. Because this tree, it's highly particular about its real estate. It primarily grows in tropical and subtropical regions. And to truly flourish, it absolutely needs fertile soil that's packed with organic matter. Now, while it can tolerate a tiny bit of drought, it really thrives in moderate weather with plenty of rain. But, and this is a big catch, it requires well-drained earth. If the roots just sit there in stagnant water, the tree is going to suffer big time. It loves moist, partially shaded areas, kind of acting like an understory giant in its early life. And it absolutely demands protection from strong winds and extreme cold. Give it those ideal conditions, though, pure magic.
Moving right along to Section 2, Anatomy of a Giant. Let's talk scale and structure.
20 meters. Think about that for a second. In ideal conditions, these green giants don't just grow into your standard, everyday fruit trees. They can tower up to 20 meters high. That's roughly the height of a 6-story building. Sure, they're generally classified as medium to large trees, usually sitting around that 10 to 15 meter mark. But when they hit that absolute perfect sweet spot of fertile soil and climate, they push skyward to an awe-inspiring 20 meters.
And check this out, 50. These trees can live for well over 50 years. But what makes this so incredibly special from an agricultural standpoint is that they remain productive for most of those 5 decades. They don't just sit there taking up space. They act as a continuous, remarkably sustainable food source for almost their entire long lives.
Let's break down the anatomy, starting from the ground up. At the very base, you've got these deep, widely branching roots gripping the soil, providing immense stability for all that massive height. Moving up, there's a relatively straight trunk with brown bark that gets noticeably rougher and way more textured as the tree ages. Above that, dense branches form a really thick canopy holding large, glossy, dark green oval leaves. And these leaves are powerhouses. They're performing photosynthesis year-round. Finally, nestled right in that dense canopy, clusters of small, light yellow flowers bloom. And those tiny flowers? They eventually transform into the green or purple fruits we all know and love.
Okay, on to Section 3, Master of Survival. Let's look at its adaptation mechanics.
You see, the avocado tree has evolved some truly brilliant biological strategies. Actually, pretty much every physical trait has a very distinct survival benefit. Those deep, branching roots we just talked about, they don't just anchor a 20-meter tree. They reach deep down to absorb water and minerals from varying depths, which really helps it survive unpredictable conditions. Then you have the large, glossy leaves, which retain essential moisture while maximizing surface area for that year-round photosynthesis. But honestly, the most genius adaptation is the rich, fatty fruit itself. I mean, from the tree's perspective, that delicious, nutrient-dense pulp is essentially a bribe. It's a high-calorie reward purposely designed to attract birds and small mammals who eat the fruit, wander off, and then spread that hard seed inside to a totally new location. It's brilliant.
So it's this really beautiful contrast in biology. On one hand, you've got this delicate, soft, highly nutrient-dense fruit engineered specifically to be eaten and digested by the local wildlife. But then, on the other hand, supporting that whole operation, you have a rugged, tough, incredibly wide and deep stabilizing root system, a system designed to stubbornly hold a massive structure in the earth for over half a century. It's just the perfect balance of inviting vulnerability and unyielding strength.
That brings us to Section 4, an entire ecosystem, and the ripple effect of this giant.
Now, if we zoom out from just a single tree, the broader environmental impact of a mature avocado tree is honestly staggering. It doesn't just exist in an environment, it actively shapes it. Underground, those massive roots act like a giant biological net. They prevent soil erosion and help preserve precious agricultural land. Above ground, that dense 20-meter canopy provides incredible shade and shelter. It creates this whole microhabitat where birds and insects can absolutely thrive, finding food and safety right there among the leaves. Plus, the shaded casts actually protect smaller, delicate undergrowth plants from the harsh sun. So, by providing food for humans and animals and shelter for biodiversity, it sustains and elevates the entire food cycle of its local area. I think this quote perfectly summarizes the impact. It says, the avocado tree becomes an integrated system linking earth, water, and living organisms in a balanced way. And that really hits the nail on the head. It's a vital, living hub that intimately connects the soil beneath it, the water it draws up, and the countless animals that rely on it.
Let's move to Section 5, Beyond the Plate. We're looking at its industrial and agricultural value.
The sheer versatility of this tree is just incredible. I mean, we obviously know the fruit provides healthy fats and vitamins for our salads and smoothies, right? But did you know that nearly 100% of this tree has value to us? The oil extracted from the pulp is highly prized, not just for cooking, but in nutritional supplements, skincare, and even hair cosmetics. And the leaves and branches? They aren't wasted either. They're very often used as agricultural mulch or animal fodder. Even when a tree finally reaches the end of its life, its wood, which is actually fairly hard, can be harvested to create small boards and light furniture. If managed correctly, it is the ultimate zero-waste resource. And finally, Section 6, the sustainable future and the importance of preservation.
Here's the thing. We cannot just take from these trees endlessly without a solid plan. True sustainable utilization means human agriculture has to find a very delicate balance. We must continuously plant new seedlings to secure future yields, for sure. But at the same time, we have to actively preserve and protect the older, 50-year-old giant trees. Why? Because these mature giants are the ones holding the soil together, maintaining the local climate, and providing all those deep ecological benefits we just talked about. Protecting them is absolutely just as important as harvesting from them.